Did you see a Channel 11 piece from a few hours ago about the leaked intelligence documents from Unit 8200 about Hamas training on the border from 2 weeks before October 7th? They documented the exercises meant to occupy kibbutzim and military bases on the envelope to the smallest detail. One of the most damning parts was the document included an estimate for the number of hostages Hamas planned to take into operation. 200 to 250. That's crazy. Down to the number, dude. That is insane. This also calls into question that the Israeli government knew Hamas is planning to kidnap 250 before October 7, and they still allowed a festival to occur at the goddamn border. Like, they looked at this and were like, this is not real. Get the out of here. AI translation of the Channel 11 news report.
Almost 9 months to the return in October, while the IDF still hasn't published the investigations of the default, we are tonight revealing the intelligence document of 800-2 that was distributed only 2 weeks before that Sabbath and gave the Southern Command an accurate picture of the raid plan on the
That's crazy. Once again, this is AI. Dubbing over the Channel 11 report. I mean, the families of the Nova Festival victims literally sued Netanyahu for exactly this reason in the beginning of October. Yeah, they didn't just allow the festival; they forced its approval. Wait, what? That they had this document in hand and still approved the Nova raid for an extra night is horrifying. Wait, what? In Israel, mass gatherings like this require military approval, and multiple officers in the Gaza Division and IDF Southern Command HQ registered their disapproval of the extension on December 25th, 2023. Haaretz reported that some Gaza Division officers privately told the irregular conduct and pressure surrounding the approval of the party. This culminated in the Gaza Division's operations officer, Lieutenant Colonel Sahar Fogel, being instructed by the IDF HQ's operations division to allow the event despite his express opinion and that of his colleagues. To recap, it seems the IDF forced the approval of the Nova Festival at the last minute over a variety of objections, and despite wide-ranging intelligence suggesting an imminent attack by Hamas. They must have at least heavily guarded the festival, right? Surely they made certain that lots of competent IDF soldiers were stationed at their posts to keep the attendees safe. Who wrote this article? Where is this article from? Oh, it's from his Substack. Okay, got it. The cynical interpretation would be that the IDF allowed it, hoping any attacks would be a catalyst for invasion of Gaza. Fuck no. I don't think the IDF allowed this. I don't think it's because the IDF allowed this and we're like, oh, it'll be sick if like a bunch of Israelis get murked. No, there is a much simpler explanation for it, and I have literally explained it to you since October 8th. It is hubris. It is arrogance. Yeah. No, they probably dismissed the alarms. Exactly. They probably saw the 8200 report and went, they can't do shit. The f are they gonna do? They're apes. They don't know how to deal with our high-tech surveillance apparatus. They can't touch us. That is when you, as the settler colony, believe in your own shit. You start getting lost in the sauce. That's it. No way would they be able to launch an operation such as this is perhaps the easiest explanation, especially because it completely aligns with the other things that the Israeli government was doing at the time. Remember how I told you about the 2018 Great March of Return, where Palestinian Islamic Jihad snipers had Israeli commanders in their crosshairs, and they sent footage of the Israeli commanders in their crosshairs to Israel. At the time, Israeli snipers were slaughtering civilians that were peacefully demonstrating at the border wall. They killed children, they killed women and children in wheelchairs and like they did. They shot nurses that were clearly identified as medical personnel. You remember, pregnant women, just unimaginable savagery. And Palestinian Islamic Jihad sent footage of their own snipers trained on Israeli commanders. The Israeli government's reaction to that was not, oh my God, they have our guys in their crosshairs and they could potentially shoot and kill them. The response was, see, we're so powerful, they're afraid to actually kill these people. This is the reason why I don't believe that Israel was like, oh yeah, it'll be great if they kill a bunch of Israelis, because that shatters the security, that shatters the sense of security that Israelis had. This was a major L for Israel. This was a major L for Netanyahu, who was the security candidate, obviously, but it was also absolutely a major, it was a major moment for so many liberal Zionists who completely got radicalized and were aligned with the rest of the psychopathic, bloodthirsty, monstrous, ultra-Zionists and you know, the Itamar Ben-Gvir coalition. And the reason for why they did that, the reason why they radicalized in that direction was because obviously liberal Zionism is still, you know, you're like a liberal fascist, but mostly because it shattered the security veil that Israelis felt they had. This is massively important. You have to understand, like, that arrogance allowed October 7 to happen in the way that it did, allowed it to be an unimaginably successful military campaign overall, especially in terms of like how many resources the Palestinian side had versus how much resources the Israeli side has. And it destroyed the collective consciousness of Israel. The idea that like Israel is this giant in a bad neighborhood that can always push back against their enemies in the shadows. It basically was a breaking point for so many people. So it's something that you have to understand. That's why I don't think personally that this was a real, like, this was something that they knew ahead of time and were like allowing to happen. I think it's more so that it was the unimaginable arrogance that the Israeli government had in terms of how it thought it could continue this occupation, this bloody occupation, without incurring any kind of negative consequences, no wrath, no retaliation whatsoever.
OTEF, including the exact number of abductees that was rehearsed in advance by the terrorists. All the details about what the Gaza Congress knew, here is the disclosure of our reporter Suleiman Masfeda.
When talking about the intelligence failure on the 7th of October, it seems that everything has already been said. And yet tonight we reveal a chilling document with its level of accuracy, which describes how much the IDF and the intelligence system knew about Hamas's plan to encroach on the territory of the State of Israel and carry out the atrocity.
Remember when the Shin Bet head said your behavior in the West Bank will create backlash and increase threats to our society, and Bibi said you're gay and woke just 9 months before October 7? Yes, I do remember that. Yeah, I do. There were a lot of people inside of the cabinet leading up to October 7, inside of the Shin Bet, which is like the interior security force, right? It's like the FBI. FBI being like, hey, if you keep moving the units, if you keep moving the IDF to the West Bank, if you keep fucking increasing the pressure on the on the West Bank Palestinians, like, you are going to create instability and chaos. That is a direct quote, by the way. No. Like, we're paraphrasing a little bit about the woke and gay part, but they did say that. Benjamin Netanyahu literally said you're woke. Here, I'll show you. There it is. The leftist deep state agenda has infiltrated the Shin Bet. Israeli minister slammed security chief. Members of Netanyahu's coalition criticized the head of Shin Bet security service after he warned Netanyahu about the dangers of Israeli Jewish terrorism. Shin Bet chief Ronan Bar warned Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that Israeli Jewish terror fans the flames of Palestinian terror, according to a report by Israeli online outlet Ynet News. To which his response was, you're woke and you're gay. Shut the fuck up. Woke infiltration of the interior security.
The document that came to us was compiled in the Gaza Committee and was given the title Detailed End-to-End Raid Training. It was distributed on September 19, 2023, less than 3 weeks before the Hamas plan went into effect. The person who wrote it reveals in great detail a series of instructions from the elite unit of Hamas, the Nakba, to attack military outposts, kibbutzim.
Why is the quality 2007? I don't know. It's Twitter.
At 11 in the morning, several companies were observed gathering for the beginning of the faith, not before prayer and lunch. At 12, equipment and weapons are distributed to the fighters, and then an exercise of when the company is ready. At 2 o'clock, the raid practices begin. The authors of the document detail a series of exercises carried out by Hamas forces before the attack. The military arm of the organization practiced ground and air raids.
This is why I always ask the question, like, how crazy is it that, like, they didn't know? They have 24/7 surveillance. There's no shot. They saw, like, people literally paragliding and stuff beforehand and thought, oh, well, these Palestinians must be just like big extreme sports enthusiasts. Like, what the fuck do you think was happening?
It's on Israeli territory, in front of the eyes of the members of the Southern Command. The one who commanded the troops was the commander, who together with the mappers made sure, among other things, to arouse the religious feelings of the warriors. The first step in the exercise, according to the document, is to open loopholes in the Damex Hali situation built in a strip that simulates the outposts in the Gaza envelope. After breaching the fence, they attack. The exercise was carried out by 4 companies, and each company was assigned a different station. The Israeli intelligence officers who followed the exercise formulated in the document the next steps after the break into Israeli territory and the takeover of the outposts. The handing over of the soldiers and prisoners to the company commanders. The expected number of hostages was written between 200 and 250 people. The military targets of the raid that were also practiced were described in the document. The headquarters of the bases, control and control headquarters. The synagogues at the bases, the squadron headquarters, the communications headquarters, Roayor systems, and the residences of the soldiers and female soldiers. And if what you have seen so far is not creepy enough, now it turns out that the intelligence of the Southern Command and the Gaza Strip was not only aware of the Hamas kidnapping plan, but in that document there is an exact breakdown of the conditions of the hostages' detention, including instructions for the kidnappers.
This is all from a document before October 7th? Yes. Yes. This was Unit 8200, which ironically had a ton of people killed in it and also had a ton of hostages. This was directly a base it was a surveillance base that the Palestinian resistance groups actually targeted. This surveillance base was documenting the actions and the training happening right before October 7 and issuing warnings to the Israeli government saying like, yeah, they're mobilizing for a massive military campaign and they want to take 200 to 250 hostages, which is crazy. Like they even got the number down.
30 of the hostages, and here are the instructions for the kidnappers. Allocation of 3 detention places to the department. Guarding tasks must be divided 24 hours a day. Searching the hostages' clothes to make sure they don't have mobile phones. Do not give the weeks' families information about their situation if someone calls. Use the predetermined list of words to call the weeks.
Idea of ignoring this has nothing to do with ego, in my opinion. A state that kills its own hostages can do whatever it takes for the bigger picture, even if it means allowing October 7th to happen. No, because then, dude, listen, you have to understand something, okay? If you consider what Israel's like lack of interest in preserving the lives of its Jewish Israeli citizens, you're right when it comes to their, obviously, the Hannibal Doctrine, right? Which declares that if a Israeli soldier or an Israeli civilian is being taken hostage, it's better to just like kill them rather than let Hamas or any kind of Palestinian resistance group to have them so they can bargain with them, right? Having said that, however, this like October 7 and the subsequent actions post October 7, but October 7 especially so, ripped through Israeli collective conscious. Like, I don't think that they would allow this much of it goes against the Israeli superiority, right? Like it goes against the primary motive of Zionism, which is that like you are superior to all of these brutal barbarians that you're dominating.
And pay attention to this instruction given to the kidnappers. To use the hostages as a threat to kill rioters from the kidnapped and anyone who tries to escape. The kill order will be given by the company commander.
Why haven't you hired us yet?
An investigation requires time, an investigation requires inquiries, and we all understand. Difficult investigations also require an emotional place. It is right to do them in the right way. This document was known to the top of the intelligence, at least to that of the Gaza Division and the Southern Command. So we are told by some security officials. Now the question arises.
They fail to realize the majority of the U.S. want to hear coverage on this matter. Yeah, I think it's this is the end of it. But while unlikely it could have been a miscalculation from Netanyahu, where he saw America rally around him and behind Bush post 9/11, it would have given him the chance to push the attention off his court shenanigans. I doubt it. Because I think that this is like, I don't know. I think that this will lead to the demise of Israel. Like Israel's reaction since October 7 will inevitably, it accelerated it. It accelerated Israel's bloodthirsty genocidal ambitions, and it did it in such a short period of time that it is going to inevitably lead to its downfall. Yeah, Israel's about to be was real.